Well, hello friends. Today I'm actually at home tonight, and out in this direction here you can see the full moon. Not you can't see it very well here on this wide angle, but it's a supermoon tonight, and we have a lunar eclipse, as you can probably see on the screen here, and we already got the penumbra most of the way across it, which is I suppose the outer shadow of the eclipse. So the parts of the moon that are already in the penumbra, they can see the Earth in partial eclipse. It's very difficult to actually see the penumbral shadow, but the umbral shadow is going to be starting very soon. It's this one here, and actually I'll just do a little time lapse here and run through. So this is what's happening. So yeah, this is where the penumbra hits, so we're about here now, and so as the night's going to progress, then it'll start going into the partial eclipse, and it's just going to sweep over, and we're just going to make a total eclipse as the Earth's shadow just covers the moon for a few minutes. And then there we are, then the shadow will start moving away again and sort of take off to the north, and then the penumbra will slide off. So we're at the fairly early stage of the eclipse at the moment. There's not much to see. So I've got my Canon 6D here on a tripod with my lens set up 600 mils, and now this is a bit of an old camera, and it's just running on aperture priority, but I've set the widest aperture was 6.3, which is as wide as it can get on this, and I'm running about 2000 ISO, so it may be a little bit grainy, but hopefully not too much. And then that's probably producing about one in a 1/1000th of a second, which is possibly a little bit too short, but it overcomes any shake, because even a very small amount of shake will certainly blur the moon. There is a little bit of cloud around, so I'm just crossing my fingers. A huge bank of cloud actually went over about half an hour ago. I thought I was going to miss the eclipse altogether, but looks like I will still be able to get it. And it's just a matter of just angling the tripod and pointing straight to the moon and getting some shots. So within this video I'm adding shots of the moon that I'm taking. But so it's a fairly pleasant late autumn night tonight, and hopefully as some of the photos will show, should turn into a quite interesting eclipse. So no hiking tonight, just out here on the porch watching the eclipse. And at this latitude, 27 degrees south, the moon's going to rise very high, and as the eclipse happens, so hopefully as long as we can get the clouds can stay away, it's going to be pretty fascinating. So going to be a supermoon, which is the part of the orbit where the moon is closest to the Earth. Most people think orbits are circular, but in fact they're actually elliptical, and so sometimes the moon's further away and sometimes a little bit closer away, and tonight's actually at pretty much its closest, which makes it about 40% brighter than what it is when it's at its furthest. So tonight we've got a supermoon, so the moon is as big as it can get. Now, because you probably saw on the phone, because the moon, the shadow is only just going to cover the moon, I'm expecting the red moon that you get when it's total eclipse is it's actually probably going to be sort of whitish on the bottom, and red and sort of darkish red at the top. So it's not going to be a really good lunar eclipse. But I'll see what I can do with the photography from that. Now, normally I would run this on manual, but tonight I've had to have it on the AV aperture priority setting, because this is quite an old camera, and I've actually had to glue this back in, and unfortunately in doing so yes, you're not able to change the settings. I've always had it on aperture priority. So to compensate for that, I've set the aperture, the compensation right down to -3 stops. So it's going to be too dark by 3 stops. And the reason I do that is because the moon is extremely bright, and yeah, if you take a photo on an automatic setting of the moon, it'll just be too bright. It almost look like the sun, and you wouldn't be able to see any detail on it. So I've really whacked down the compensation, so it comes out too dark, so which actually shows the moon actually a lot darker than what it normally is. And so then the pictures, if I can show you one, you can actually see the definition of it, and in fact you can even see the penumbra just on that side of it now. And yeah, so this picture 1 in 3,200, probably a little bit too much, so I could probably change the aperture on that. Okay, 7:43 now, and we're very close to the start of the partial eclipse. There is a bit of cloud around, but it's just about to clear. Actually, yep, just clearing now. So I will, and actually you can even see the shadow coming over it already. So yeah, about time I take another picture of it. Yep, and I just got that just in time because now the cloud's going over again, but it will clear soon. So it looks like I'll be just taking pictures as the cloud clears. It's just part of the challenge of photographing eclipses. You got to prepare in advance. I use timeanddate.com. You can it gives you all the details of when the eclipse is going to happen, when it's going to start and finish and everything, and it runs a full, if I just do that and then run it, it actually shows the whole sequence, which I find very handy. So it helps you prepare for it, I find, and it's just a matter of hoping the sky stays safe. And so tonight's 26th of May. Obviously you would have well and truly missed this by now, but you can search by wherever your location is in the world. So obviously I'm in Brisbane, Australia, so if I go further down, it's got all the upcoming eclipses. So there's another one on the 19th of November, so hopefully, although it's only a partial, it's nearly total but not quite. Then another total eclipse November next year, and then there's a partial solar and so forth. So you can actually look up all the eclipses that are coming up in your part of the world here at timeanddate.com. So yeah, it looks like the moon's almost completely disappeared now, but it will come back again, and obviously I will be photographing it again. See, with the moon still quite bright, I don't even need a tripod at the moment. I'm still getting some pretty good results, and as you can probably see here, I can, the shadow is really going over now, and so the part of the moon now that's already in shadow, and the sun has completely disappeared behind the earth, and so it'll be a pretty amazing eclipse from up there. From viewed from the earth, the moon and the sun are roughly the same diameter, and the moon slightly more, and so the moon only just covers the sun, so that's why the area of a total solar eclipse is really small. But on the moon, because the Earth's far bigger than the moon, several times bigger, the shadow of totality is a whole lot bigger. And tonight's one of those nights where the entire surface of the moon is just going to be completely covered by the shadow of the Earth. And so looking from the moon tonight is going to look really amazing. You'll be they'll be able to see all the lights. I'm not sure what they'd see. Obviously they'll see Australia. It'd be almost close to right overhead, but most of what they would see would be just the blackness of the Pacific Ocean. I'm guessing it'll be slightly reddish, similar to what we'll be seeing with the moon, and then sort of towards the northern part of the Earth, they'd see sort of all of Asia, Southeast Asia through China and Japan, so a huge amount of lights through that. And then I'm not sure if they'll probably just be able to see the east coast of the west coast of North America, only just. So it'd be like this big ring of light around the of night lights around the edge of the world, but because the sun will just be setting on eastern North America, or western North America rather, and so they'll see a few spots of light here in Australia and New Zealand, and probably a little bit in Africa as well. So from the moon it won't be quite as spectacular as it would be if this was happening on the other side of the world. But from Australia, we're getting the full spectacle tonight, whereas people on the other side of the world, they won't see this at all. And there's a few recent lunar eclipses that we've missed on this side of the world, so we're lucky to have got it today. Okay, the shadow is moving across a bit more, so I'm going to get a couple more pictures. Here's the latest shot. It's probably a bit hard to see on this, but it's interesting. I haven't changed any of the settings, but the exposure time just before the start of the eclipse was 1/3000th of a second, and now it's down to 1/1250th of a second. So the moon has actually already lost more than half of its brightness. You can see the Earth's shadow creeping over it. Okay, the moon's just gone behind a cloud now, so I can talk a bit more. So you're probably wondering what do you need to do to prepare. Well firstly, find out when the next lunar eclipse is. So I suppose the things you need, firstly, obviously your smartphone with the details of the eclipse, and then you need a decent camera. Unfortunately, phone cameras just don't cut it at all. You might just get a little bright spot in the sky. You really need a good DSLR camera, so I'm using a Canon 6D at the moment. It doesn't have to be a full frame. You can use a crop frame one as well, but the main thing you need is a good lens. So I've got a 600mm lens happening here, and it's certainly at least 400mm to get a really decent shot of the moon, like what I'm getting tonight. And obviously if you get a good sort of professional grades camera body that you can use on sort of your manual settings, because if you use auto settings, because the rest of the sky is so dark, the moon will just look really, really bright. So and you completely lose all your details. So you need manual settings, and you just need to practice a lot. And I suppose the best way to practice will be during an eclipse, or even during any night the moon's out, before the eclipse. Take pictures of the moon, experiment. I find an exposure time around 1/500th of a second. Open your aperture as wide as you can. So with this particular lens I can get it up to an f-stop of 6.3. If you've got a really big, more expensive lens, you can get that down even further. And try and keep your ISO as low as possible. But really, realistically, for something like this, you'd be probably looking at least 2000. So you want a really good camera that can handle an ISO of 2000 without getting too grainy, because the higher the ISO, the sensitivity, the more grainy the picture ends up. So it's just a matter of just experimenting. Take lots of pictures of the moon at different phases, and especially try somewhere close to the new moon where it's just a little thin crescent, so you're starting to get used to photographing eclipses. And then when the next eclipse happens, you'll be all ready for it. I think the cloud's starting to go away now, so I'm going to take some more pictures. Okay, the shadow's nearly halfway across, and it's getting significantly darker now. A shot that was had an exposure time of 1/3000th of a second is now down to about 1/400th. So I'm having to start increasing the ISO now. But it's interesting, the shadow, as sort of points due south, and the light bit points due north, which is very weird, because usually the shadow points away from the sun, which is east or west, and yet right now it's pointing south. So it'd be interesting, animals that navigate by the moon, they must be getting very confused right now, seeing the shadow of the moon sort of pointing due south, almost suggesting that the sun is due north, but that's not the case at all. And it's interesting, actually my favourite time for photographing the moon is actually when it's like a half moon or crescent, or even I even prefer the gibbous moons, when it's sort of mostly done. But you look against the shadow and you see all the craters and you see a lot of shading in them. But because tonight the sun's shining directly onto the moon, you don't see much definition at all, and you'll see it in these photos. There's not much, very little contrast in texture within the moon. I'm probably having to enhance it a fair bit to bring out as much shading as possible, but it's you don't get much shade at all, and you find that when you're taking a picture of a full moon or an eclipse, that there's actually very little shading around the craters, and I actually find it's best when the moon's in one of its phases. Okay, we're just over half an hour out from the total eclipse, and this is what it's looking like now, and there it is up in the sky, looking quite a bit dimmer. And then on the camera, I can actually just make out the red dark part. You might not be able to see it on the GoPro, but it's all starting to happen now. And the way the light, the sunlight sort of shines around the earth, red light tends to bend a bit more, so you find hopefully what we'll see tonight, the dark shadow of the moon will actually appear red. There's still a bit too much brightness in the in the shiny side of part of the moon at the moment, but when it goes into a total eclipse, it will actually appear red. It's be very dim, and so I'm going to have to really crank up the settings very shortly, but darkness actually appears like a blood red colour, not the actual grey colour you expect on the moon, and that's because the red light tends to bend around Earth a lot better than the other frequencies. And so most of the light actually hitting the moon, when it is in total eclipse, is actually red. So it's all going to happen pretty soon. So better get a few more pictures in. Okay, it's getting very dark now. There's just a thin slither of moon left, and I can now see the redness of the dark patch. There's about another 20 minutes before it does go to total darkness. Now I've just looked it up. The diameter of the umbra, which is the dark part of the Earth's shadow, is about 9,500 kilometers, and the diameter of the penumbra is about 16,000, I think. 16,000. The diameter of the Earth's penumbra is 16,000 kilometers. So the diameter of the Earth is about 12,000, probably at 12,600 kilometers. But because the diameter of the sun, some of the sunlight sort of spins around a bit, and other parts doesn't. So that's why we've got the two parts to shadow. So the broadest shadow that the Earth produces is about 16,000 kilometers, which is 4,000 more than the actual diameter. And the part of the sun that sort of goes around, it produces in the umbra, which is a really dark patch, of about 9,600 kilometers, which is probably close to the size of the Pacific Ocean, or maybe a bit smaller. But so the shadow that we're seeing on the moon is actually about 9,600 kilometers, which about the length of Eurasia. So it's a fair bit, and certainly a whole lot more than the size of the shadow of a solar eclipse on Earth, which even on a really good eclipse might only be about 100 kilometers or so. But it's getting darker, and the stars, there's a lot more stars out at the moment, I've heard a few dogs a few blocks away going a bit crazy, understandably, and you can probably hear the yowies going as well. Those mythical creatures that everyone believes happens, and you can hear one now. But very dark now. So time for a bit more photography. And amazingly, the skies cleared up. It got a bit doubtful before with quite a bit of cloud cover, but that seems to have cleared. But I mean, that could change. Actually, I do see another bit of cloud coming over now. So I just got to cross my fingers that during the 20 minutes or so of totality that there will actually be some clear skies to get some good shots. Well, I've now just reached totality, and it's very dark, sort of greyish red colour. And there will, I think throughout the rest of it, there will be quite a bit of light on one side, so it won't be an even one. But over the next few minutes will be as good as it gets. So so I just got to pop this back on the tripod and take quite a few more shots, and then just keep going and watch the white light sort of is still facing north, but it will sort of bend around to the east to the bottom of the moon, and then it'll get light again. So very, very interesting. Okay, the shadow of the moon's just starting to clear now, and there's a little bit of light showing. An interesting fact, the sunny side of the moon is about 100 degrees Celsius, and the dark side of the moon is about minus 170 degrees. And it's such an extreme variation because the moon doesn't have an atmosphere. So it'd be interesting to see how much the temperature has dropped over the surface up here, with the eclipse. I imagine it'll be at least a few tens of degrees, maybe a 50 or 60 degree difference.